It's all a part of this Epstein file. Uncle Luke had Jay-Z on the couch and he had the girls off there freaking off while he was watching and everything. Jay couldn't take his eye off the girls now.
What do you think about Jeffrey Epstein?
Epstein was a CIA Mossad asset that was recruited and was doing a blackmail op.
We've got a bombshell that just detonated out of nowhere, and trust me, nobody saw this coming. The newest release of the Epstein files didn't just raise eyebrows. It sent shockwaves through the entire industry, and sitting right near the top of those pages is a name nobody expected to see, Jay-Z. For years, whispers have floated around the shadows about him, quiet accusations, uncomfortable stories, rumors people were too afraid to say out loud about his connections, and the way young people allegedly moved through his orbit. But now, with these disturbing documents surfacing and the details growing darker by the minute, it looks like those whispers may have turned into something far more serious. Because the FBI isn't ignoring it anymore, they're reportedly closing in.
The article on this page and wrote the caption, "I know I'm late on this, but this is kinda crazy. What do you do to get thrown into that mix?" And he posted a picture of Jay-Z and wrote the caption, "Damn, they got my man Jay in the Epstein files. I gotta do a doc on this."
Latest tranche of Epstein files from the Department of Justice contains around 3 million documents, thousands of still photographs, and hundreds of hours of video.
After federal agents went back through the dusty paper trail tied to the Epstein investigation, something strange started happening. Old reports, the kind most people assumed were buried for good, suddenly resurfaced. Forgotten tips, anonymous calls. Messages that had been sitting in a system for years, waiting for someone to finally look closer. And every single one of them had been submitted right after Epstein's arrest, like people were too scared to speak until he was already in cuffs. But one tip in particular sent a chill through the room. An unidentified caller didn't just drop hints, they named names. They pointed directly at Jay-Z and even linked him to Harvey Weinstein, dragging the timeline all the way back to the 1990s. Decades ago, long before the spotlight ever turned this bright. And the implications? Way darker than anyone expected. Because the message strongly suggested that Jay-Z and Epstein may have crossed paths behind the scenes at some point, not casually, not coincidentally, but closely enough to raise serious red flags. Especially when you remember what the survivors themselves have been saying for years, that Epstein's island wasn't just filled with strangers, it was packed with powerful, household name celebrities hiding in plain sight.
With regard to Epstein and some of the celebrity or well-known powerful people who are involved here.
Of course there is.
Absolutely. I'm probably more afraid of the people we don't know about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The people you don't know about, the people who know that they may be on any kind of list that is.
People who are purposely trying to get that list to stay away or not be on that list. That's who's.
And here's where it gets even darker. For years, the people orbiting Epstein weren't just rich, they were untouchable. The kind of powerful celebrities who didn't need to run from accusations because they could simply erase them. Victims didn't just disappear from the headlines, they were pressured, threatened, or quietly paid off. Hushed with stacks of cash. Cornered with blackmail. Forced into silence before they ever had the chance to speak the truth out loud. Careers were protected. Reputations were polished. And the crimes? Buried so deep it was like they never happened. But this time feels different. Because with this latest wave of Epstein documents crashing into public view, those old protection tactics aren't working anymore. The curtain is being ripped back, piece by piece. Names that once felt untouchable are suddenly exposed under a spotlight they can't control. And figures like Jay-Z? They're finding out the hard way that there's nowhere left to hide.
I had 3 victims that I've been working with, victims of the Carters, that were ready to come forward. This might help them feel a little more confident.
Jaguar Wright has been louder than ever about all of this. She says Jay-Z has managed to avoid real scrutiny for years, even though, according to her, plenty of people behind the scenes already knew disturbing things. And one claim in particular shocked everyone. She alleges Jay-Z actually brought Rihanna into the country when she was still a minor. There's even past footage of Rihanna herself saying she was pressured into signing a contract, something Jaguar insists wasn't mentorship, but control.
So nervous. I was shaking literally. But the moment I walked into the office, the atmosphere was so warm and welcoming.
And you had to sing a cappella for him?
Yes, I had to sing I sang Pon de Replay. I sang another ballad from the album last time.
So then what did he say to you? He said something to you.
Oh yes, he said, we don't sing songs here, we sing artists. And there was this little pause, and I was nervous. But then he said, and we're interested. And there was this sudden feel of relief.
But then he said something about a window and a door or something.
Oh, then he said, he did it homework.
I did a lot of homework on you, this lady.
He said, there are two ways to leave here, either through the door with the deal signed or through this window. And we're going to...
Jaguar says she was actually there when Rihanna first got signed, watching everything unfold in real time, and according to her, people couldn't stop whispering about just how young Rihanna really was. She claims the concern wasn't quiet either. It was constant. Like, everyone noticed it, but nobody dared to question it out loud. She alleges Rihanna spent long stretches surrounded by powerful adults, moving through rooms filled with industry heavyweights, yet without family close by to protect her. And as the years passed and her fame exploded, Jaguar says Rihanna's circle quietly shifted, old faces disappeared, new handlers stepped in, and little by little, her world tightened, until her career wasn't just managed, it was controlled.
She was a kid at that time, correct?
15-year-old girl who had been flown to the United States without parental supervision or a chaperone, brought to a grown man's office in a large corporate Manhattan building. Everybody knew when she flew in. I was there the day she got signed. Everyone was talking about it, and the 6 hours that she spent with him, and the 4 hours that she spent alone with him with no parental supervision. Her father didn't show up to the next day to come and collect the check.
Well, and
this is her life.
The rumors were even beyond that, right? That Jay-Z was cheating on Beyonce with her when she was 17 is what a lot of this came out through a publicist who later then had to apologize.
To my friend Jonathan Hay? You should talk to Jonathan.
Please.
Because Jonathan was there. He was right there working with Rihanna. And it was right when they started crafting her to be seen as a brand and commodity only and not a person. And when I talk to Jonathan now, just to hear him when he thinks of his teenage daughters, he was like, Rihanna was the same age my girls are now. I couldn't imagine putting my daughters through what we put her through. And then the next thing you know, she was removed from that first team from Pon de Replay and replaced with all new handlers and kept sheltered in Los Angeles, where she was going out to parties and partying at 15, 16, 17 years old, hanging out at the Rainbow Room, hanging out. Yeah, like it was one of my friends who found out she was 17 when everyone thought she was 21. And he was like, yo, why do y'all got me carrying this girl around and she's
She also went on to talk about how Jay-Z had another teenager, and one that is often less discussed, but deserves just as much attention. Foxy Brown.
At 15, 16, 17 years old. She was running all around Philadelphia because Jay-Z promised her that they could be, normal when she wasn't with Corrupt. Corrupt was a fake boyfriend, which is why when they tried to use her to say that she was actually in the car and there with Keepy D and all of that, I'm like, that girl wasn't even there. These women are pawns. Inga Marchand at 14 years old, 14 and a half, going on 15 years old, singing highly explicit and sexually charged, lyrics all written by Sean Carter. What kind of 27-year-old grown man turns a 14, 15-year-old girl virtually into a prostitute and gave her the nickname the Il Nana? No.
She goes on to paint Jay-Z as someone who doesn't just protect his reputation, he engineers it. Every move calculated, every appearance polished, every headline carefully managed. To the public, he looks untouchable, almost flawless. But behind closed doors, she believes the whole image is nothing more than a performance, staged down to the smallest detail. In her words, power and control matter more to him than talent. And that, she says, is where the connection starts to feel chillingly familiar. Because Jeffrey Epstein didn't just chase his own sick impulses, he weaponized them. He gathered dirt, built leverage, and stacked blackmail like insurance policies against celebrities and politicians. Anyone who tried to step out of line got silenced fast. Jaguars claim that the playbook looks the same, and that Jay-Z operates in a way that's disturbingly similar.
Died because he was my son. He died because of
He was targeted because he's my son.
He
was working on his EP. I bought Philadelphia for him so he didn't have to sign to a company because I knew what it was going to do. He interned at Rock Nation. And they approached him to sacrifice me. I saw his death when he was 19. I moved us here to stop it, to prevent it, to avoid it. They take them anyway to show you what the harm is. Giovanni, his death is why I do what I do.
Now here's where things get even more uncomfortable for Jay-Z. This isn't just internet gossip or random accusations floating around online. He's already been hit with actual lawsuits from women who claim he didn't just exploit them, but allegedly did so while they were still underage. And once those claims are sitting on paper, in court documents, it changes the whole picture. Suddenly, it's not rumors anymore, it's legal battles. Real people, real accusations. Stack that on top of everything else already swirling around his name, and it gets harder and harder to simply brush it off or call it coincidence. The overlap starts looking suspicious. The timeline starts lining up a little too neatly. And for many watching from the outside, ruling him out as someone connected to Jeffrey Epstein doesn't feel so easy anymore. Then came another voice adding fuel to the fire. Gene Deal has recently stepped forward, saying flat out that the allegations surrounding Jay-Z aren't just talk. According to him, they're very real.
I told y'all a lot of stories. I told y'all about Jay-Z, how he was, and it ain't no allege. It ain't no allege. These little girls was from our block. These little girls was from our block. Miss Pleasant ran with them. They all ran together and came to parties and shit like that. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm going to let Miss Pleasant, I'm going to try to talk her into telling that story. So y'all bear with me when she come back. She going to see this, but I'm letting y'all know. And don't none of you moderators sit up there and text her and try to forewarn her. I'm going to try to tell her and talk about the situation because it's all a part of this Epstein file. You know, look at that situation where Uncle Luke had Jay-Z on the couch and he had the girls off there freaking off while he was watching and everything. Jay couldn't take his eye off the girls now.
Gene Deal believes the Epstein files could cause serious trouble for powerful people in music, including Jay-Z and others. He says that many stories people once laughed at are now starting to line up with what is coming out.
You know, at that time,
right,
when he was messing with old girl,
right,
he had to be 30 years in jail.
Oh no, well, he was in his late 20s, almost 30. You think
he was 30. That nigga was 30. I know that nigga was 30 years old or better. Because I didn't know he was that old.
He used to pull up on the block and pick us up. Like, this is the thing. Like, they were messing with each other. Like, they were locked in for 2 whole years. And
well, Jay was locked in with a lot of people because I ain't gonna say that he was trying to get with Sugar.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I could see that. Pretty girl. Yeah.
He was trying to get with Sugar.
I could see that.
And back in the day, I ain't gonna speak on it, but
but what?
But nothing, because you ain't gonna speak on your friend. Don't speak on my shit.
Okay.
And I ain't gonna tell it.
Because you know I know that you know that I know that I know that you know that I know what you
don't play yourself, all right? So now, what I'm trying to get y'all to see and what I'm trying to get y'all to say, I didn't lie when I told y'all this was messing with young girls.
Yeah, he was.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
I did not lie.
I know this for a fact.
This wasn't no capping the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
You understand? So now when these files come out and they start speaking about these cats and they sexapades and dealing with these young girls.
Gene goes even deeper, pulling back the curtain on how the powerful really move when their backs are against the wall. He says families with money and influence don't panic, they mobilize. The second accusations start floating around. The inner circle snaps into defense mode. Lawyers swarm in. PR teams go into overtime. Images get polished. Stories get cleaned up. And above all else, silence becomes the strategy. According to him, plenty of people know what really happened, but they stay quiet because speaking out could cost them everything: their careers, their money, even their safety. So they swallow the truth and play along. He also points out how politicians and public figures once lined up proudly beside major celebrities, smiling for cameras like it was a badge of honor. But now, with old behavior being dragged back into the light, that confidence has turned into fear. Suddenly, everybody's nervous, because no one wants their name tied to something that could permanently stain how history remembers them. And sooner or later, every road in the story seems to circle back to Beyoncé. Beyoncé has always shared the same timeline about how she met Jay-Z, saying she was 18, that they built a friendship first, talked for over a year, and only then started dating. Legal, clean, straightforward. The official version has never changed, but not everyone buys it. Some industry insiders, including Gene Deal, hint at a very different story. One where Jay-Z was already much older, already close, already involved in her world long before she was grown. And if that's true, it completely rewrites everything fans thought they knew.
Started dating Beyonce at 17, 18, he was 30-something. You didn't know his age. I look back and see how old Jay-Z was. I think Jay-Z was born in like 69 or 67. Something like a 67 right there. 69. I think he was born in 69. Beyonce, they say she was born in 81. You understand? But back then, in 81, when we was in the club together, 98, 99, she wasn't even supposed to be in the club, but she was in the club. It was Club Eugene's. And Jay was dating her. And at that time, if you look at Jay's age, he was about 30 years old. So, isn't she still somewhat a child? To me, she is. But I guess they protect child. That's how you protect a child. You know, dating her at the age of 30-some years old and she's 17, 18 years old. If that's her true age. We really don't know her true age because Gabrielle Union said she went to junior high school with her, and Gabrielle Union is considered 6-7 years older than Beyonce age that she getting. So we really don't know. You know what I'm saying? But to get back to your letter, I believe that the lawyer was doing what he did, and he threw shade at Puff in the interim of that by saying that all celebrities, you may think all celebrities are alike, you know what I'm saying? He know he's under this situation with Puff. But you got to look at this right here. They sent him a letter. Busby sent him a letter for two reasons, I believe. To open up the floodgate, just like that 1-800 bad boy number did, and people start calling in saying what Puff.
The conversation didn't stop there. It started spreading, pulling in more names, more history, more uncomfortable memories people thought had been buried. And soon, another familiar face came up, Aaliyah. Dame Dash once admitted that both he and Jay-Z had taken an interest in her back in the day, though he was quick to clarify that she was already an adult at the time. Still, even with that detail, the situation left people uneasy. Because Aaliyah's past wasn't exactly clean or simple, her earlier experiences with R. Kelly had already been exposed as deeply disturbing, something the whole industry knew and openly talked about. And that's what made it sting even more. According to Dame, what really bothered him wasn't just the history, it was what came after. He was furious that Jay-Z later chose to work closely with R. Kelly anyway, fully aware of the predator accusations surrounding him. To some, that decision didn't look like ignorance. It looked like willful blindness. And it only added another layer of doubt to an already troubling pattern.
Oh, you know how he is. He's like, yo, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Damn.
What I would love is for someone to ask him, like, yo, why would you still do a project with that man, knowing that he raped Aaliyah? That should be the question. Period. It shouldn't be for me. It should be the question posed to him. And I don't give a fuck about nothing else. But that right there was bridge burnt. But I just was like respecting her, respecting the business. But I was I moved out of Rock. Like if y'all look at, I left Rockefeller. It wasn't that I got kicked out of Rockefeller. I left Rockefeller. You understand what I'm saying? The option was there for me to stay. I did not want no parts of it. I was done. I left Rockware. Think about it, bro. I said, f all the money, f all this I'm out. Now think about, a lot of men would not have made that choice. But any real man would have to make that choice. I was left no choice. He gave me an offer I could not refuse. Like, we done. You know what I'm saying? You gonna f with this man, you knew he raped my girl, you was in love with her. How could you do that? It's obviously you want me to feel away. Like, it wasn't enough money for us to do that. So I was done. I thought I was cool about it. Like, I was like, I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm just be out. And then I thought I was cool about it. I really did.
So this is after Jay tried to talk to Aaliyah, but she chose you over him.
You know the timeline, bro. We did the project when she died, which was even more disrespectful to me. And I'm not.
Now, it's not just Jay-Z under the microscope. The spotlight is widening fast, and according to the newly released Jeffrey Epstein files, a whole list of powerful figures is suddenly being whispered about too. We're talking millions of pages, documents so massive it feels like digging through an endless vault of secrets. Names, dates, emails, connections, pieces of a puzzle nobody fully understands yet. And buried inside all that paperwork, one name jumped out and made people stop cold: Bill Gates. Tucked into the files are draft emails Epstein was reportedly writing to himself back in 2013, private notes, almost like reminders or leverage. In one of those drafts, he mentions Gates directly and references their past relationship. But the tone isn't friendly. It's tense, almost bitter. Epstein allegedly writes that Gates wanted old messages erased. And that's the part people can't stop circling back to. Because when someone powerful suddenly wants history deleted, it makes you wonder what exactly they were so desperate to make disappear.
It said that Bill Gates wanted to get from him antibiotics to give to Melinda because he got syphilis or he got something.
Damn.
The clap, chlamydia, whatever he got. He got some sort of an STD from a prostitute.
Do you think if she could have the choice between getting what did she get, $50 billion, or not getting the syphilis?
Whatever she got. I bet it wasn't syphilis. It was probably the clap. It was probably chlamydia or something like that.
That's no big deal.
But but who knows if that's true, though? Here's the thing. Like, Epstein clearly was some sort of a blackmailer. And this is an email that Epstein wrote. So it could be complete fiction. Epstein could have wrote that just to put pressure on Bill Gates for some fucking business deal. Like, who knows? He could have spread rumors and then said that he'll squash those rumors. But these guys are dealing in deception and blackmail. And so you can't, assume that it's true.
Think about how many relationships Epstein had and that he was working almost every one of them, leveraging.
Yeah. Some of those draft emails get even stranger. They don't read like formal business notes. They drift into deeply personal territory, filled with odd requests and scattered thoughts. The writing is sloppy, almost frantic, like someone thinking out loud on paper. Half sentences, vague references, just enough detail to feel uncomfortable, but not enough to fully explain what's really going on. Still, one question keeps hanging in the air. Why would Jeffrey Epstein be tangled up in private matters involving one of the richest men on the planet, Bill Gates? How does a financier with a criminal past end up anywhere near conversations that personal? Even Gates's former wife, Melinda French Gates, recently spoke out, admitting how disturbed and disappointed she was when these allegations surfaced. And that only fueled the fire. Because once you zoom out, the story gets bigger, way bigger. Some reporters and analysts now believe Epstein wasn't operating solo at all. They point to documents and messages where he repeatedly mentioned helping foreign interests, like he was working angles far beyond money or fame. If that's true, then this wasn't just about celebrities or billionaires. It suggests connections stretching into places most people never imagined, power circles far deeper and far more dangerous.
Okay, I just texted it to you. Look at this email here. Zoom in a little bit, Rob, if you could. Thank you. Hey, send from phone. Unfortunately not. Okay, unfortunately not. You should make clear that I don't work for Mossad.
Smiley face.
You see it? Yeah. You or I. No, that I don't.
Yes.
Smiley face. So, look, the claims that he was never part of Mossad or didn't work with them or collaborate with them, if you don't believe he did at this point of the game, you may work for Mossad. You know what I'm saying? That you may be them. By the way,
I don't believe that. No, I'm just
yeah. So no, but the point I'm making to you is guess what Mossad's job is? To gather assets.
Of course.
And guess what CIA's job is?
Same thing.
Guess what MI6's job is?
Same thing.
Everyone, guess what KGB's job is? Every one of these guys that want to go out there, they want to get intel. So this guy was very useful to Mossad.
What do you think about Jeffrey
Epstein was a CIA Mossad asset that was recruited and was doing a blackmail operation. I think that's crystal clear. No question about it. So
tends to be the party guy, just like Diddy.
Drugs,
cameras, drugs.
The CIA, as part of MKL, had Operation Climax, where they would lure Zhongs in with drugs and prostitutes. And then this drunk CIA schmuck would sit on the opposite of a two-way mirror and take notes on what, just evil, wicked stuff. And that's what they're using Epstein for, was blackmail operations. And they got some pretty high-level people snared into that. And they haven't released the entire list of close Epstein confidants. But, Israel's former prime minister was one of them.
Barack?
Yes, they got a picture of him visiting Epstein at his New York apartment. And he was well connected to Epstein, but that was all in secret. But that is the intelligence part of Mossad. And of course, they couldn't do that without coordinating with the CIA. So
I ask this question now, the more I learn, there just always seems to be this connection between the CIA and the Mossad. And I'm going, is it just...
No,
they're the same organization. The more you look back into history, and it's always somehow the CIA and the Mossad is there on the day that JFK gets shot. We learn about like MLK. We learn about 9/11, and then we're just going, okay, why does it seem like there's a union here, a marriage here?
Mossad is like the sister of the CIA. They're joined at the hip, kind of like Siamese twins, and they use each other for intel and operations and things like that. They are extremely close and in an extremely sensitive relationship. Oh yeah.
And it totally explains what Epstein was doing. And also Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, when he died, and didn't he die rather mysteriously? I'm not sure.
He found dead off his yacht floating in the water. They claimed it was a heart attack.
Of course.
Just when he was coming under scrutiny for arms dealing and connections with the CIA and being a Mossad agent, actually a double agent with Mossad and KGB. All of a sudden he's found dead floating next to his yacht, and
happens all the time.
Oh yeah. It's just, just one of those things. See what
a ton of Mossad agents and I think a former prime minister of Israel attended his funeral. So it's like, guys, hey, maybe.
It's like,
They argue this wasn't random behavior, but part of a bigger operation involving power, secrets, and control. Do you agree with that assessment? And do you think Jay-Z will ever be held accountable for his connections to Epstein? Let us know in the comments.